If Are You Human Too and I Am Not a Robot had a baby and Black Mirror was the crazy auntie who showed up only on holidays, it would be this show. Hello YouTube, my name's Marie. Today let's have a spoiler-free little chat about the very current Netflix original series, My Holo Love. Our female lead, her name is Han So-yoon, I think. I almost never actually use characters' names in reviews, but I'm gonna try with hers. So Han So-yoon, she has this reputation for being very cold and rude, when in reality she is a very soft-hearted and painfully lonely woman who has been suffering from a psychological form of facial blindness since she was a child. But her reclusive life is completely flipped upside down when she comes into possession of a pair of smart glasses. I don't know if I'll wear these for the full review. I don't necessarily like how I look on camera with glasses, but we'll try them out. Now these specs are home to an AI program named Hulu, and Hulu has a holographic form which only the wearer of the glasses can see and interact with. The time that Han So-yoon and Hulu spend together have profound and unpredictable effects on both of them, which causes Hulu's developer. He decides to let Han So-yoon keep the glasses for a little longer in order to study the newfound bugs that Hulu is experiencing. So she becomes kind of like the default first beta tester of the smart glasses. But things become even more complicated and dangerous when an evil corporation wants to get their greedy little hands on Hulu technology for themselves. And in good old love triangle fashion, we've got an AI, the creator of an AI, and a poor woman who can't tell the two apart. I want to touch quickly on the pacing first, right out of the gate, because if you're anything like me, you might look at this episode count and think to yourself, 12 episodes is not a usual runtime for a K-drama. Has Netflix split perhaps a 24 episode drama and put the first half online as season 1? Like they so often do with like 16 episode K-dramas, so often they just put the first 8 episodes up. I say so often as if it happens a lot, but the only two that come to mind are Because This Is My First Love and Love Alarm. They did that with those shows. But anyways, the thought still applies here, and the answer to that is no. You get absolutely everything that you came for in these 12 episodes. I am completely satisfied with the show and the story after these 12 episodes. With that out of the way, let's talk about characters. The male lead actor who plays both Hulu and the developer is the show's standout star, in my opinion. He portrays these two very opposite characters so well that there were even moments where I forgot it was the same dude. Hulu as a character I did enjoy so much more in the first half of the series. As the show continues, and I'm gonna be kind of vague here because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but as the show continues, I started to question how human Hulu actually was. And not in the good, fun way of questioning. I don't think that the writers meant for the audience to be questioning how sentient he is at these points in the story. But I was. There were certain emotional beats happening that I felt warranted a specific reaction from Hulu, especially if we're gonna go under this pre-established idea that yes, he's moved farther than any AI program ever has, he's basically human, he's capable of love. Like, if we're going to go under that assumption, I feel like he should have reacted in different ways to these emotional things that happen later on in the series. He doesn't, and I could probably make a very strong case that says no, in the end, this was just a very well executed AI program. Like, he never went past. This book right here by John Searle is really fascinating, and it's really short if you're interested in artificial intelligence, and they reference the Turing test within the show, like in the first couple episodes, and I believe that that's discussed in here. It's called Mind, Brains, and Science. I had to read it for a philosophy class in university, and let me just say that out of everything we talked about in philosophy, I found this the most fascinating. Like, we talked so much about Socrates and Aristotle and why is a chair, and I'm like, because you sit in it. This was much more fascinating to me. So anyways, I could make the strong case that no, in the end, Hulu was just a really, really well actualized AI program that simply acted in accordance to that primary programming all throughout the show. Like, even though there are moments where he shows human emotion and he makes his own decisions, that to me is not enough when those emotions and that agency plays directly in with his primary programming. So Hulu's lack of clarity, like at the end of the series, was quite frustrating to me because I don't believe the writers intended his character to be so ambiguous. But let's move on to our female lead, and I found her character and the actress both very serviceable for the story, but in the end quite forgettable. And our female lead's facial blindness as a plot device, I'm getting just so tired of it. It can't be this much of the population has facial blindness to warrant so much representation in our media. And I do think about that because I just watched Secret Life of My Secretary, and the male lead has facial blindness, and then there was Rich Man, Poor Woman recently, and I think it's also the male lead that has facial blindness, and I think there was another one, but I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But yeah, I'm just like already so tired of it. I will say that in this show, the facial blindness is used very effectively and it has a very clear purpose within the narrative. On another note, I really, really did appreciate the growth that our female lead goes through. I really love how the show in general is discussing these really deep feelings of sadness, like abandonment and loneliness, with an AI thrown in. I really enjoyed seeing how an AI program like Hulu might interact with our society and these emotions, because, you know, an AI program will never leave you. On the flip side, this drama also discusses how this AI program could be used in a negative sense, like twisted towards capitalism and illegally surveying all of its users. Like, I found these elements so good. It's very similar to Love Alarm, how these are conceptual shows and the series is implementing them in very realistic and believable ways that only add to the entertainment value of the show. And at no point did I feel like these other sort of intellectual discussions were overtaking the romance of the show, because this is a romantic science fiction K-drama, and you never lose sight of that. Like, I also want to quickly note the effects of Hulu. Like, I loved how the show represented the hologram. Like, he's kind of sorry, I feel like I've got a frog in my throat. He's kind of translucent. I loved that. And then there's also a really great moment on the beach where he's like running around playing in the sand, but his footprints aren't leaving any impression because he's not actually there. I thought that was just so great, and like really small details that I appreciated. I see them, they're nice. Lastly, the villain is very flat. He is a cartoon villain, but I don't think I would want him any other way. Okay, for my overall rating, I'm gonna give Hulu a 4 out of 5 stars. Like I mentioned in the beginning, if you liked Are You Human 2 or I Am Not a Robot, this is the next best thing in that AI romance genre. Also, I'd recommend My Holo Love if you liked Love Alarm and Radio Romance, and also search www. So that's everything for me. I hope you guys have a good day and a good night. Bye!